All right, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep on some of these phrases. Time to just sound right to a native speaker. We're talking about collocations.
Yeah, collocations, these combinations of words that just naturally go together. And it really is less about strict grammar and more about like the well-worn paths words take together. It's what makes English sound natural, you know?
Makes it sound real. And we're going to be using Learn to Speak English Like a Pro in 28 Days as our guide, specifically day 28, which focuses on these everyday collocations. Now, you, our listener, you're here for a deep dive. You want to really get this stuff. So our mission today is to highlight the most practical, most memorable examples and really get into why these pairings just work. How can you start using them right away to sound more confident, more fluent, sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, let's start with a verb that you can't avoid in English. Have.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it? And, you know, it often relates to like possession or experiencing something. And that's why it pairs so well with nouns that represent activities or experiences. So like have a break, say, have a break at 10 a.m. It just feels natural to say you have that pause, that experience of stepping away for a bit.
Right, it's like that break becomes a part of your schedule, something you possess for a little while. And then, of course, there's have a chat.
Yeah.
So useful in social situations. The source gives the example, let's have a chat after the meeting, which feels much more relaxed and friendly than, say, let's discuss or let's talk formally.
Absolutely, it's informal, it's light, you're engaging in something together. And you see this pattern with have and other nouns about, brief events, quick interactions.
Yeah, I see that. It's like, have a good time. This is such a common way to wish someone well, right? I hope you have a good time at the party. It's almost like the default way to say, enjoy yourself.
Right, and think about it. Good time, it's an experience. And you're wishing that on someone. And then you've got have a look, which is like a polite way to ask someone to examine something. Can you have a look at this report?
It's softer than just saying, like, look at this. It feels less demanding.
Less direct, for sure. And then there's have a rest. This one's clearly about well-being. You should have a rest if you're feeling tired. That period of recuperation, it's something beneficial.
Recharging, yeah. It's that time to yourself. And then you've got have a drink. We've all heard that one. We should have a drink to celebrate. So social, often celebratory, like the example says.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder why have a drink and not take a drink, right?
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, think about it. Take a drink sounds more like, the actual physical action. Have a drink implies the whole social event, the experience.
The whole shebang.
Exactly.
Okay. And then we've got have an idea, which is all about creativity. I have an idea for the project. It's that moment of like mental possession of a new thought.
It's interesting, right? Because idea, it's abstract. But even then, have is the natural pairing.
Yeah, you possess that thought. Then we have a word, which usually implies a pretty brief, maybe even a private conversation. I'd like to have a word with you about the proposal.
And there's a certain nuance there, isn't there?
It feels a little more serious, maybe, than just having a chat. Like you need to have this specific, concise exchange.
Definitely a bit weightier.
And then we've got have a meal, like come and have a meal with us tonight. Such a classic invitation.
It is. And it's so warm. It really suggests sharing that experience of eating together.
And last but not least, for have, we have the very simple but very important have fun. Make sure to have fun on your holiday.
A fundamental desire for enjoyment, for a positive experience.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've really looked at have. Let's move on to another big one, make. What's the sort of general feeling with make collocations?
Well, if have often pairs with experiencing things, make tends to involve creation or action. It's about bringing something into being, causing a result, like make a decision. It really emphasizes that active choice, She needs to make a decision by tomorrow.
Right, like it's not just happening to her, she's actively creating that choice. And then we have make an effort. This one stresses intentional action. You need to make an effort to improve your grades.
Yeah, it's about consciously putting in the work. It requires like exertion, a deliberate act of making.
It's not passive at all. And then there's the classic make a mistake, which, we all do. The source has a pretty relatable example. If I make a mistake, someone can cover up for me.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, it does. And then there's make progress, which is so tied to like goals and improvement. He needs to focus more if he wants to make progress.
It implies this journey with a direction. You're actively making it happen.
Creating that forward movement. And then make an impression. is interesting because it's about how others perceive you. She really knows how to make an impression during interviews.
Yeah, you're creating a specific effect, especially important in those professional social settings.
Absolutely. Make a promise has some real weight to it, right?
Yeah.
It's important not to make a promise you can't keep.
Oh, for sure. Speaks to integrity, reliability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we have make a plan. We should make a plan for the weekend. Essential for organization.
Yeah, for structuring those future activities. And then there's make a suggestion, which is about offering ideas.
Right, putting them out there, making them known. Can I make a suggestion for the event?
Exactly.
And then there's the very practical make money. You started a small business to make money on the side.
A pretty common goal.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, for make, we have make time. You need to make time for yourself. This is all about prioritizing.
Time is precious.
Yeah.
It's not just found,
Yeah.
You create it.
Yeah. Good point. Okay, moving on. Let's look at take.
Take. Another versatile verb, right? It could be so many things.
It can. It can be physically grabbing something, but also engaging in an action or accepting something. So we start with take a break. Now, we already saw have a break. Is there a subtle difference?
There can be. It often depends on the context. Take a break sometimes has this feeling of a more deliberate action, like conscious choice. I need to take a break after working for hours. It suggests a need for that respite, whereas have a break, it can feel more scheduled.
Routine.
Right.
Yeah, take a break feels more intentional.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's take care, which is so common for responsibility, for caution. Please take care of the documents.
You're looking after something, ensuring it's safe and good condition.
Yeah, you're entrusting them with it. And then we've got the more formal take responsibility. She needs to take responsibility for her actions.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Owning those consequences.
Yeah. And then we have take a chance. Now, this one brings in the idea of risk, of opportunity. Why not take a chance and apply for the job?
Stepping outside that comfort zone, Accepting the possibility of both success and failure.
And then there's take control, which is about asserting your authority. He decided to take control of the situation.
Stepping up.
Yeah. And then we have the all too familiar take an exam. I have to take an exam next week.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, haven't we? Okay, and then a closely related activity, take notes. Don't forget to take notes during the meeting.
Essential for remembering those important details.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
And then we have the very polite, take a seat. Please take a seat and wait your turn.
A gentle invitation.
And then there's take time. Take time to enjoy the simple things in life.
It is good advice.
It is. It's a reminder to slow down and just be present.
Appreciate the moment.
Exactly. And last up for take, we have take a photo. I mean, who doesn't do that these days? Can you take a photo of us?
Oh, all the time.
Capturing that visual memory. All right, get. Now, get can be so many things.
Get is flexible, it's colloquial, it's got so many uses.
It does. So we start with get a job, which, is a pretty major life event.
Yeah.
He's hoping to get a job in marketing.
Yeah, that process of obtaining employment. Another big one is get married. They're planning to get married next spring.
Starting new chapter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have get ready. I need to get ready for the party tonight.
Preparing yourself for the event.
And on the less fun side, there's get sick. He tends to get sick when the weather changes.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
It does. And then there's get lost, which is, sometimes a travel mishap. The source even mentions that tourists often get lost and stray into dangerous areas.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Definitely not. And then we've got get permission. You need to get permission to enter that area.
Authorization is key.
It is. And then there's get a chance, which is expressing hope for opportunity. I hope I get a chance to speak with them.
Hoping for that opening, yeah.
And then there's get along. This is all about relationships. Do you and your coworkers get along well?
Harmony in the workplace.
Essential.
Yeah.
And then pretty crucial, get paid. You'll get paid at the end of the month.
Got to get that reward.
Exactly. And finally, forget how we have get upset. Don't get upset over small things.
Good advice.
Good advice. All right, let's move on to do.
Do, another one that's all over the place.
It is. Often relates to actions, tasks.
Oh, for sure. So starting with, a chore, we all know. Do the dishes. I'll do the dishes after dinner.
Part of life.
Yep. And then you've got do anything. This emphasizes a lack of options. It's too late to do anything about it now.
Like your hands are tied?
Exactly.
Okay, do business.
Oh,
We do business with several international clients.
those commercial interactions.
And then do a favor, which is, an act of kindness. She asked him to do a favor and pick up her package.
Helping someone out.
And then there's the encouraging, do your best. Just do your best on the test.
Always good advice.
It is. And then on the less positive side, do damage. The storm is expected to do damage to the coastal areas.
Yeah, that's about negative impact.
And then on the learning front, do an experiment. We're going to do an experiment in the garden.
Hands-on learning.
Do exercise. It's important to do exercise regularly.
Staying healthy.
Then do your hair. You should do your hair before the photo shoot.
Getting ready, looking sharp.
Exactly. And last up for do, we have do well. He hopes to do well in his new job.
Wishing for a positive outcome.
All right. Let's look at give.
Give. It's all about offering, providing something.
Yeah, that act of providing. So we start with give advice. It's important to give advice based on experience.
Sharing that wisdom. And then, of course, there's give a speech. He had to give a speech at the wedding.
Public speaking,
Can be nerve-wracking.
for sure. And then we have give permission, which is, like the flip side of get permission. The teacher decided to give permission for the students to leave early.
Granting that authorization.
Yeah. Give a hand, which is like offering help. I'm happy to give a hand whenever you need it.
Being supportive. Lending a helping hand.
And then you've got give an example. Can you give an example of how to use this word in a sentence?
Making it clear, providing that illustration.
Right. Give attention. It's important to give attention to the details of your work.
Focusing, paying attention.
And then give information. Like the guide will give information about the local attractions.
Sharing the facts.
And then, similar to give a hand, we have give help. She was always willing to give help to those in need.
Supporting those who need it.
And then give credit. You should give credit where it's due.
Acknowledging those contributions.
Yeah. And then lastly, forgive. We have give an explanation. He had to give an explanation for his absence.
Providing those reasons.
Okay. Moving on to go.
Go. This one often suggests movement or like a change.
Yeah, a transition, a journey of some kind. So, we begin with the very familiar go shopping. We're planning to go shopping this weekend.
The classic shopping trip.
And then, go for a walk. I like to go for a walk every evening.
Getting some fresh air.
Yeah. And then, on the more intense side, go crazy. She will go crazy if she doesn't get some time to relax.
Yeah, that's about a strong emotional reaction.
And then we've got go missing. Important documents tend to go missing during a move.
That's always frustrating.
It is. Go online. You can go online to check your bank account.
So common these days.
Yeah. Go wrong. This is about potential problems. If anything is to go wrong, we need a backup plan.
Always good to be prepared.
Always. Go running. I like to go running in the morning to start my day.
A great way to get energized.
And then, of course, go on holiday. We plan to go on holiday to the beach next month.
Vacation time.
And then we have go bad. The milk will go bad if you leave it out too long.
The perils of spoiled food.
Yeah, no one likes that.
Yeah.
And lastly, for go, we've got go through. She had to go through a lot of paperwork to finalize the loan.
Yeah, it implies this process. Often a lengthy or maybe a difficult one.
Okay, our next verb is keep,
Keep. Now this is about maintaining or retaining something.
holding on to it.
Right. Whether it's physical or abstract.
So we start with keep a promise. Similar to make a promise, but here the focus is on following through. He always tries to keep a promise no matter how difficult.
Shows integrity.
Yeah. And then we have keep in touch. Let's keep in touch after graduation.
Maintaining those connections.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And then, keep a secret. Can you keep a secret?
Discretion, being trustworthy.
Yeah. Keep calm. Like, try to keep calm during the presentation.
Solid advice.
It is.
Yeah.
And then keep an eye. Can you keep an eye on my bag while I go to the bathroom?
Watching over something, staying vigilant.
Yeah. Keep a diary. I'd like to keep a diary to record my thoughts and experiences.
Self-reflection.
And then sort of like take control. We have keep control. It's essential to keep control of your emotions in stressful situations.
Yeah, staying composed.
Keep in mind that it might rain tomorrow.
A good reminder.
It is.
Yeah.
And then, keep quiet. Please keep quiet during the movie.
And courtesy.
And last up for keep, we have keep track of. I need to keep track of my expenses this month.
Staying organized.
All right, moving on to pay, which is, of course, about financial transactions, but also has this meaning of showing respect.
It does. Pay can be literal and figurative.
So true. Pay attention, which is similar to give attention, right? Please pay attention to the instructions.
Focusing that mental energy.
And then we have pay a visit. I'm going to pay a visit to my grandmother this weekend.
Social call.
Yeah. And then, less fun, pay a fine. He had to pay a fine for parking illegally.
Consequences.
And pay interest. You have to pay interest on the loan.
The cost of borrowing.
And then there's pay the price, which is about consequences, but in a broader sense. If you break the rules, you'll have to pay the price.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah, that's for sure. Pay respect. We went to pay respect to the veterans at the memorial service.
Showing honor, reverence.
And then there's pay a compliment. It's nice to pay a compliment when someone looks great.
Spreading some positivity.
And then we have a few different ways to pay. Pay in cash. Like, do you prefer to pay in cash or by card?
The age-old question.
Pay in full. They decided to pay in full to avoid any interest charges.
Smart move.
And lastly, for pay in advance. You need to pay in advance to secure your reservation.
Securing that spot.
All right, our final verb for this deep dive is set.
Set. This one's about establishing or arranging something.
Putting things in place.
Exactly. So we have set a goal, which is, like make a plan, but often it's a longer term thing. It's important to set a goal before starting a project.
Having that target in mind.
And then you've got set an example. Teachers should set an example for their students to follow.
Leading the way.
Set a deadline. We need to set a deadline for this project.
So important for, well, actually getting things done.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have the very literal, set the table. Could you help me set the table for dinner?
Getting ready for a meal.
And then set a trap. They set a trap to catch the mouse.
Trying to catch something.
And then the everyday, set the alarm. I always set the alarm for 6 a.m.
Ugh, the morning alarm.
And then set a record. She set a record for the fastest time in the marathon.
Achievement.
Yeah, reaching new heights.
Yeah.
Set a standard. The company aims to set a standard for quality in the industry.
Setting that benchmark.
Set the stage. Her hard work set the stage for the company's success.
Creating the right conditions.
Yeah. And lastly, for set a limit. You should set a limit on how much you spend.
Boundaries are good.
They are. So there you have it, listener. We've gone deep on collocations with some of the most common verbs in English. Have, make, take, do, give, go, keep, pay, and set.
They really are. And once you start noticing them, you'll hear them all the time. And the real magic is using them yourself, It makes your English sound so much more natural, more confident.
It really does. So listener, as you go about your day listening to and speaking English, pay attention to these word partnerships. What other natural combinations do you notice? It's amazing how these little word choices reflect like a deeper understanding of how we see the world. It really makes you think.